Hello, everybody, and welcome to something a little unorthodox, but circumstances have basically forced us to take this route. Welcome to our coverage of Ninjago Possession, the season. Because as you may have noticed, if you have been following our content over the last couple of weeks, we have been doing coverages of the Ninjago Possession episodes. Well, we only did 5 of them, and due to a myriad of factors, inconsistent release schedules for the episodes that have differed. They all kind of came out within 1 week period. Not wanting to flood the channel with a bunch of tangentially related content like Ninjago coverages kind of are, and just general scheduling conflicts. Rather than do 5 more videos talking about the season, we're just going to kind of do a roundup of our opinions. However, we are going to talk about the episodes that, we did not talk about, as well as give our thoughts on the season in general and all that fun stuff. And as always, I am joined by LJ.
Hey, I missed TTV, but I'm here for this.
So, with that being said, how do you want to go about this, LJ? You want to recap the episodes that we didn't cover?
Yeah, it won't take me very long.
Just do a second half of the season recap.
All right. So the second half of the season starts off with Kingdom Come, which is the milestone 50th episode. 50th. I'm doing great right now. Let me take a swig. All right. Kingdom Come is the 50th episode overall. Premiered in the United States on July 6th, 2015. That's how far behind we are.
Yeah.
Bottom line, the ninja end up getting into this alternate universe kind of thing. Cloud Kingdom.
It's not an alternate universe, it's an alternate reality. It's like an alternate realm.
No, and we're gonna get to the other realms momentarily. So they get in, and things get weird. Like, Ninjago's been strange before, but at this point, it got real weird. Long story short, they get tricked. A giant ape thing tried to kill them. They find out that the people living in this kingdom are basically... What's a non-offensive way of saying this?
They write everyone's destinies.
There isn't any. So anyway, they get in there. They're looking for the sword. They don't get the sword. And then they jump on back. But then they end up getting the sword.
Kai got his one cool moment of the season, literally, when he, thanks to Lloyd, they got the sword from Moro. And it was good stuff.
Yeah. So, they got that. Next episode, The Crooked Path. See? 51st.
Mm-hmm.
So, they got all the items they need to get to the first Ninjutsu Master's tomb, but they need to get to the tomb. Ronin ends up getting the snot kicked out of him. He betrays the ninja, which sucks, and he gives the sword to Moro, thinking, hey, this repays the debt. It doesn't. He gets suckered. And then he leads the ninja to a very familiar place, the Caves of Despair. You may remember that from season 1-ish. Basically, this first 4 episodes where they encountered Cole's dragon. They go all the way back there. Well, they were tricked, obviously. They get caught in the cave. They nearly die. Well, Ronin, last second, tells them, nope, here's a location to the tomb, sends over Rex, his machine, gets them out of there. And they get out of there while these caves are destroyed.
It was a pretty epic moment. Not gonna lie.
It was really cool. So, next episode, Grave Danger. And they get over to the place, and it's underwater. Of course. Well, Rex, of course, can go underwater. No problem. Get into the tomb, traps. They figure out the riddles, like the Riddler or Kazi. They're having a great time. And then they're not having such a great time. They see their futures, which gives us a couple of hints at some things. They fight Moro, beat the snot out of him. They find the Realm Crystal. Do they find the Realm Crystal in this one? Grave Danger? Okay, they find the Realm Crystal and then lose the Realm Crystal. But they get their elemental powers back.
They also get Lloyd back.
Yeah, they also get Lloyd back. So, then we move on over to Cursed World Part 1 of a 2-part kind of finale. So, Ninjago City is apparently having some sort of New Year's celebration, which, because it's July, isn't anywhere close. We get a couple of cameo appearances, specifically from Skylar and Cyrus Borg in this episode. They get some new vehicles, while Kai gets a bandana. They construct this huge, great plan. Moro ends up summoning some army of ghosts with the crystal that he now has, and they inhabit the city of Styx. The ninja then start attacking Styx. Great tricks were played. It's pretty cool. Moro has a sword. He fights Lloyd. Lloyd gets the crystal and is about to destroy it, but no.
He gets taunted
He doesn't.
with his father still being technically alive.
Yeah. So they end up skipping to a bunch of different dimensions. One of which just so happens to be... I'm not going to say it yet. So anyway, in the end, it seems like Lloyd has been defeated, and the Preeminent finally emerges from the Cursed Realm to destroy everything. Cursed World Part 2 ends up being the final episode of the season. Ninja are continuing their assault, but they're losing ground rather quickly. Moro fights Sensei with the Realm Crystal. The Preeminent is here and huge, destroys all of the vehicles that the ninja have. We see a couple of other cameo appearances. Chen, Klaus, they're here too. And Garmadon. Somehow Lloyd and Garmadon switch clothes. It's pretty confusing. They keep on fighting. And slowly but surely the ninja win and everything's fine.
Thanks to Nia being a Deus Ex Machina device.
Yes, Nia unlocks her true potential.
So that's the season in general. Let's get the elephant out of the room.
Chima is an alternate universe in this universe. I can't believe that. Chima, of all places. Like, I knew this was coming, but I'm so angry because it got spoiled for me. I mean, I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't know when, I didn't know how. Both those things got spoiled for me, and I'm so furious because I thought that would have been so funny to have seen without having that spoiled for me, and I'm so frustrated.
I thought it was plenty funny despite having it spoiled.
Well, it was, but it's not as funny when you know it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Believe it or not, people took it really hard. What? I've been like looking at the community, seeing the feedback to the episodes over the last couple of days, because that's actually an advantage of waiting a little bit to, review the episodes. People got mad. They were like, how is Chima an alternate universe in Ninjago? This obviously means Chima is now going to be an integral part of Ninjago. How could they do this? They must leave the lines separate for the sanctity of everything. And I'm just like, it's a cameo. If they wanted to in the future, do they have the ability to merge the themes together? Yes. But will they? I heavily, heavily doubt it. They're two very different shows. Now, it's a good thing, in my opinion, to have the LEGO themes be part of one giant universe. We have the LEGO movie universe, and we have the LEGO TV show universe. I think that's a good thing to do, personally speaking.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all it was. It was like 10 seconds long. It wasn't a big deal at all. But okay, I think it's time we talk about this season in general,
LJ. Okay, what did you think of it? Because you got a lot more to say.
Okay, yeah. I normally with Ninjago, I'll clarify this. I'm going to be doing a lot of complaining about the season, but Ninjago at its worst is still good. I've said that a good bit throughout watching this show, and I'll still say it now. Ninjago is an exceptional show, and it's just so creative and packed with humor, and especially for LEGO themes right now, it's got the best storyline of any LEGO original IP, including Bionicle, right now. So, even at its worst, it's still good. That being said, they've been on an upward slope the last couple of seasons, where each one has been getting progressively better than the last. And I will say that this particular season kind of broke that streak a little bit. It is not as good as the last season, I would wager, or even as good as rebooted. It's more along the lines of Stone Army, Rise of the Snakes, and the first 4 episodes. I wrote down an extensive pro-con list, and rather than just list them all out, I'm going to present a couple points that we can discuss. So in the pros, we've got, it was the original team. Lloyd was pretty much possessed for most of the season. So we got to see the original dynamic of the 4 ninja, Nia, Wu, and Misako, who wasn't part of the original dynamic, plus the introduction of Ronin. What do you think of Ronin, LJ?
Ronin was one of my favorite characters this season. He's just so savvy. And he's got that kind of voice where you're just like, he's a cool guy. I'd like to just hang with him. Although, because he's a criminal, you'd probably be hanging from a rope, but still.
The way they introduced him was pretty interesting, because he appeared in the game, which is not fully canon. And apparently his personality was radically different in the game.
Really?
Yeah. So, they alluded to the fact that the ninja had met him before, but they didn't get into it. They kind of just recreated the character to fit the needs that they had for him in the story. To which he started out as an antagonist. He eventually kind of joined up with them, which admittedly made 0 sense as to why they would trust him with anything. Kai gave him the shares to the tea shop, so he muscled his way in, and then suddenly he's a trusted member of the team, and he's on the bounty, and he's helping them do stuff, and they never, ever explained why. And I'll be honest, I don't really care why, because he was a good character, and his presence added a lot to the show. I think whoever's idea it was to bring him in is a genius. Because he's funny, he's competent, but he has enough quirks about him to make him interesting, and he's a good fighter. He wrecked Nia and all 4 ninja, even though the ninja were being kind of stupid at the time. Which brings me to my next point. A negative. The ninja were the original team. But were they really? It seemed like a lot of the times their personalities, I'm not going to say they were changed, but they went too far in the... What am I trying to say? They were all played up for comedy. Kai sucks. That's funny. For 3 episodes, they messed with Zane's voice for no other reason other than for cheap laughs. Cole got turned into a ghost. The logistics of which I don't really know. And he remains a ghost at the end of the season. So hey, that's a thing. And Jay was pretty okay. Jay was the only one, I feel, who was kind of true to his character throughout. But 9 times out of 10, it seemed like the ninja were completely incompetent, stupid, played up for laughs, or just couldn't do much because they had all their powers and abilities and weapons and everything taken from them to facilitate this need to have a big bad that really, when all was said and done, was not that big of a bad. And I know that's something that you definitely share my opinion with, LJ. What'd you think of all that with the ninja losing their powers and stuff?
Personally, I believe it's more of an inconsistency than anything else. But that's the thing. I really do understand why they lost their powers, because at first I was really confused. I was like, well, why'd they lose their powers? There was absolutely no reason for their powers to be attached to Lloyd. But that mess reminded me, they got their powers from Lloyd and rebooted. So it makes sense that if Lloyd is out of commission, and so are they.
Mm-hmm. But does it really make sense?
However, that brings up another question. How does Nia have powers? And why doesn't Kai have powers naturally like Nia? Since they're both descendant from Spinjitzu masters who have these elemental powers naturally, these kind of things are passed down from generation to generation. Why is he now suddenly dependent on Lloyd while Nia isn't?
Even all the others of them, except for Zane, that's whatever, he's a robot. But I think the implication was that Cole and Jay were also descended from elemental masters.
Well, that's the only way these guys are. All of the people we saw are descendants.
Now that makes no sense with
That's just the
Zane,
way it goes.
because he's a robot.
Now, yes, that has always been a great question from Ninjago. Why is Zane like that. Although he's always been hinted at it being special, even more than he already is.
Yeah.
But it was kind of confusing. The biggest question in my mind is, where are the Stone Army swords? Where did they go? It makes sense if Ronin stole them. I don't know if he did or not, like in the past, but they're just gone.
Yeah.
It makes sense for them to have those at some point.
Yeah, they also had to use like bootleg weapons throughout the season, like just random silver swords and shurikens until they got their arrow
Although
blades.
they finally, yeah, they finally did get some cool swords and weapons.
Yeah.
But overall, I did like this season. Like, my favorite season, just for reference, is Rebooted.
Minus
That is my all-time favorite season in Ninjago.
mine.
I like this one about as much as the last one. Like, I did like the last one, don't get me wrong, but it balances out in my mind. That's how I see it.
Fair enough. No, it definitely wasn't a bad season, but like, I think its strengths were it did have that original team dynamic. Like, it harkened back before Lloyd was just the answer to everything, and he was the main dude.
Mm-hmm.
They also, it always had a sense of imminent danger and high stakes. Like the stakes were high, probably the highest they've ever been, or so they tried to tell us. The season like opened with nonstop action, and it kind of carried forth all throughout. And personally my favorite things that I really enjoyed, the creative use of the cursed realm, which they introduced last season, and then they elaborated more on this season. And also all the cameos and references, like in the last episode. That was cool.
Oh my gosh, man! Probably my favorite part from this entire season was when they were in the Cloud Kingdom, and Jay looks over at one of the writers like, "Hey, they're writing about Dareth," and and all of a sudden someone knocks over a bunch of ink, and it just goes and it splotches all over Dareth's destiny. And you just go down and you see Dareth like, "Hey ladies, beep beep," and all of a sudden a cement truck just pours its load right into his nice hot rod car.
Yeah.
And the ninja comment, "Poor Dareth."
That was
funny.
probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest moments of the whole season.
That was just a solid.
Definitely, it was very funny. Another thing that like wasn't funny, but I just really liked from a character dynamic perspective, was Ronin and Skylar at the diner. That was nice,
Yes.
commenting on like what was happening on the TV, just kind of chatting back and forth. I enjoyed that. But that's all well and good. Those are all strong positives. But the negatives, I'll just say it straight up: Ghosts. Was not a fan of the Ghosts pretty much at all. Their abilities were vague. Their motivations were even more vague. They're only weak to water, which serves as a deus ex machina for Nia to have prominence. And then, of course, Cole getting turned into a ghost. It's not a bad thing. I mean, Zane's a robot, Cole's a ghost, fine. I can accept that. But, like, what does that mean in a practical sense, to be a ghost? He showed a little bit of it when he could possess things for one episode, that he did that.
Yeah, all of like two times that he did.
And they made the implication that he phases through solid objects. But then they had Moro grasp Sensei Wu's hand at the end. So, like, what? It was also unclear, like, ghosts can be shocked by lightning, and they can be hit physically, but they can pass through everything except water. Confirmed. And it's just, I didn't buy it for a second. Like, I tried to suspend my disbelief, but halfway through the season, I was like, yeah, this isn't working. And it went straight up to the finale, in my opinion. The Preeminent was a very weak attempt to do something like the Overlord, but not really. Just a giant tentacle monster who wanted to kill everyone for some reason.
Yeah, I think I could have accepted it a bit more had we been given some more insight into what the Preeminent was.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of, all right, I'm Moro, and my master, the Preeminent, wants to destroy everything with the gem. And he talks about her as though she is a sentient person who is very calculating, very scheming. And then time comes and it's just like, all right, guys, who wants some spaghetti and meatballs? Maybe it's a little bit moldy. Maybe I put some green dye. You're going to have to eat and find out which one's which.
Yeah.
And it was kind of underwhelming. I mean, it was action-packed.
It
It
was.
was still very enjoyable, and there was still a very great threat, but it was...
It would have been better had we seen the Preeminent, or if the Preeminent spoke. Because, let's be real, the Overlord, not exactly the most unique villain. You know what I mean? He's this menacing shadow guy who is evil and out for power and stuff. But the voice actor and the line delivery and the constant presence that he had made him a strong villain. This person, not really. And the argument could be made that Preeminent isn't the villain, it's just a plot device, and that Moro is the real villain. To which I say, okay, Moro also wasn't a great villain. To those of you who have played the game Batman Arkham Knight, Moro's a lot like the Arkham Knight. He goes around the entire series whining and like yelling at people, and he's just out to get everybody, but he's kind of incompetent when all is said and done, and he relies on gimmicks to do anything, like the sword. And he's just screaming, I want to be the Green Ninja. I'm the Green Ninja. You suck, Lloyd. All season long. And then he like had a good moment at the end when he died. That was a good scene with him and Wu. But other than that, oh yeah, and then when he was fighting the ninja at the start, that was good. Everything else, nah, wasn't really a fan.
Yeah. Now, a couple other things kind of bounce off that. In our previous discussion about the Imminent.
Preeminent.
Was that the name? Preeminent. Either works. I think they did mention that the Preeminent was basically the cursed realm.
Yes.
It was the physical embodiment of the cursed realm. Now, that is an interesting twist. And what would make me much more inclined to accept it is if every single realm had one of those. Like if every realm had its own version of a Preeminent and they all were different. Like Ninjago's Preeminent was the first Spinjitzu master. Shima's was the Phoenix, or the sun, because it gave birth to the Phoenix. And this one, and the Cursed Realm, was the Preeminent, and so on and so forth. That would be really
Maybe
cool.
that is what it is.
I would really... That's
I don't know, I'm just saying, we don't know. Maybe they'll get into that.
Don't say things with certainty, Meso.
Maybe I said maybe that is what it is.
Oh, okay.
Come on, man.
Yeah. I heard it. That is what it is. But yeah, that would be splendid. I would really like to see that. So I'm gonna, in my head, that's how it is. The other thing is, I noticed that when the ninja got their powers back, they did stand somewhat of a chance against Moro.
They did. Those last two episodes, I'll say those were the best of the whole season. By far, they had everything. They had comedy, they had fighting, they had competency, except for Kai. Kai kind of didn't really get anything the entire season.
Kai was weird.
Except the headband, but everything was pretty much solid on all fronts. Even Nia, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, yeah, okay, she saved the day, saw it coming from 10 miles away, but it wasn't, like, overdone.
Yeah.
No, I was...
But, yeah, no, speaking of Nia, I think they handled her really, really well.
Definitely better than I
was really afraid... Yeah, I was really afraid that she was going to be super overpowered and just get right in there, and it's like, all right, guys, I got this, stand back. Nope. Psh, 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 got a bottle of water, crinkle. Psh, 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 psh.
Even with the water, she was still, she was holding her own, but she was kind of getting overwhelmed at times.
Yeah. So I think she was very well handled. That was greatly appreciated.
Yep. So what else did I write down? Covered the forced humor, Ninja being stripped of everything, Nia, ghosts, Kai. Touched upon it briefly, but I just gotta say it again. What happened? Like last season, I felt they had a slight amount more focus on Kai, even though really it was just because of Skylar. But like there were a couple
Mm-hmm.
standout scenes where we actually got into Kai's psyche a little bit, like how he felt that he was the team leader and that he had let Zane down and that he should have done more to save Zane. And then we got another scene where he was like being influenced by whatever it was, I forget, and he was like, I should have been the green ninja, not you. And this season it was like
Yeah.
he was a punching bag. He suddenly has all these terrible character traits, like he's terrible with directions, and he's a terrible negotiator, and he can't swim, and he's too reckless, and he almost got them all killed in the tomb by trying to do something that he couldn't do. And I was expecting all
Yeah.
season for some kind of a payoff, where we had like a character arc, and it never came, ever. The one scene that he got that was kind of cool was the one where he got the sword from Moro, and he didn't even do that by himself. It took Lloyd to do it. So I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what happened there, but
Yeah.
and then we covered the plot inconsistencies. Moro, yeah, that's pretty much it. Honestly speaking,
Mm,
again, I sounds like I complained a lot, but I honestly did like the season. It's it's just
yeah.
not their strongest showing. What'd you think
I
overall?
think I think overall I still really liked it. I still think Ninjago is a solid children's
Mhm.
show. Like it's really good. Things that impressed me this season: handling of Nia, very well done. Ronin, the humor because it was pretty funny, and actually the handling of Garmadon, because I was really worried that they were going to somehow bring him back this season and everyone was going to be so nice, super, and happy. But they finally just finished him off. Unless there's some way that the Cursed Realm did survive along with Garmadon,
Nah,
he's
he's
toast.
he's done.
And that
It was
impressed me. He was a very long standing character, and now he is, as far as we're aware, totally and completely unbringbackable.
nice. You are right.
And I think,
He is
yeah.
pretty much gone permanently.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I like that. I appreciated that.
Yeah.
What else? What else? What else? What
Well,
else?
I mean, like that's the season. We could talk about the future.
Well, I'm not
Okay.
done yet. I didn't get to what I was not very impressed
Mm.
with. I definitely did not think the plot devices were enjoyable. A lot of their pet peeves seemed very situational, and I wasn't too big of a fan of that. Cole's fear of ghosts.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
And Kai's inability to swim seemed not only incredibly random, but very slightly forced, at least from what I could
That's
tell.
what I meant earlier when I was like forced humor at times. They were playing all their quirks up for laughs too much.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are the things that really got at me. The whole water thing, yeah, that was kind of an issue. Moro, I still think he was handled very well. I think all the cameos were really well done. One thing that confused me was the bandana. Now, I'm sure it's gonna come to me later, after we're done with this, but the bandana seemed rather unusual. Like, is it in any of the sets? Is it from a character we've seen
I don't think
before?
so.
Was there any real reason he
I
had
think the
it?
only reason they had it was so they could make another joke about Kai sucking so much. Honestly, I think that's all it was. I
I
could be
mean,
wrong, but I cannot think of any other relevance it would possibly have.
oh, wait. Mm. Okay, the one possible thing they're referencing is his father. Because I'm looking up on the Ninjago wiki on Wikia, and there's the one image of Kai and Nia's father, and he's wearing a bandana.
Is he?
He's wearing a headband. I'll show the
There's
image.
multiple images of their father.
There you go.
No bandana here. But no, yeah.
Yep. Look at my image, Meso.
That is a thing. It is a headband, you may be right.
I don't know. So, yeah, that was kind of. I'm sure they're gonna have some reason for it later.
I'm not
But-
sure at all.
And then the one final thing before we can move on to wrap up. The entire episode of Kingdom Come. What happened? What in the world happened?
They went to the place, they got betrayed, they fought a thing, they snowboarded excessively with unfitting music.
No.
Dareth got wrecked, and then Moro got wrecked. That was the episode.
Meso, you know what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about? Elaborate.
I'm talking about really trying to find the name for this thing. Oh my goodness, I can't find the name for it. That thing. The thing
creature?
that attacked the creature. What the heck was that? I didn't realize that Ninjago turned into a Lego version of where the wild things are.
Yeah.
It was that fast! Like, they did a really great job tricking not only Ninja, but me. Because I thought, wow, is that the dude? Is that the Grand Rider? But then they totally tripped it up and whatnot, and that was really a cool plot twist. But what in the heck happened? That was so abrupt!
Yeah.
Like, we've seen Ninjago creatures before. We've seen the dragons. We saw that one prehistoric dino thing. But then this thing comes out of nowhere and starts downright terrorizing the ninja. You don't know what it's trying to do. You don't know if it's trying to give them a hug or eat them. It looks terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. They ran in fear. They're animated, but they look so scared.
It was pretty odd. The whole episode can be summed up with antics ensued.
Yeah, okay, fine. Overall, this entire season consisted of antics ensuing.
Pretty much.
And I'm happy with it, but I definitely think some things could have been handled a little bit better. And I'm looking forward so much to the next season.
Yeah. Now, we're not over. We're done with the season, but there's more to talk about. Namely, the future. Now, a lot of stuff did happen this season that kind of hints towards where we're going in the future. Namely, they saw future versions of themselves, except for Cole, who didn't. So rip in peace, Cole. I think that's pretty clearly telegraphing he will die eventually. Jay got an eye patch and is with Nia in the future. Kai was just Kai again. He had nothing special about him at all, unless he had the headband, and I just forget. And then Zane was literally just a robot. No change at all. He didn't even get a new paint job.
Like, it's funny though. He said, I look older. But the only thing that changed was his robes.
Yeah. Speaking of which, they're clearly hinting towards Lloyd. Not hinting, they said it. Lloyd shall become Sensei Lloyd. That is the next thing.
That's interesting.
Yep. He went from kid to ninja to gold ninja, back to ninja to Sensei in the span of like 2 years, it seems.
Yeah.
Like 3 years. So that dude's weird. I don't think Lloyd really works, personally. He's always been the odd man out.
He's the green
if they
ninja,
had
though.
just written him if they had just written the characters a little better, this season probably would have been my favorite on sole virtue of not having Lloyd.
Whoa.
Like, I don't hate him, but it's just he interferes with the character flow. Everybody feels more natural without him there, and that may just be me. But if they want to push him into more of a sensei-esque role, be my guest. It's also the voice actor. He's not good. She's not good. My mistake.
I think she's good. I think she does a good job.
Well, yeah, I guess.
You may not like the voice, but I do think
I should. It's not her fault, I suppose. It's just the portrayal. It's not to my liking of the character. But we got some teases of that, and then the biggest plot element, hands down, realms. Now this is a genius move.
Oh yeah.
It's a genius thing to introduce because it opens up many doors for where they could take future seasons if they were ever running low on ideas. Boom, here's another realm. trouble in that realm and Ninja go to help. They're going to be like Thor and his crew going from realm to realm.
Thor and his crew. That's a great way of
Well, I
putting
remember
it.
he had a crew, but like I don't know what their names were. So
Me neither.
yeah, they could do multiple things with this. What will they? I don't know. They may not do anything at all because we actually have some details about the next season, and it seems like it's going to be about pirates.
Yar har!
Now there could be a pirate realm, or there could just be pirates.
Yar.
Now we also know, supposedly, this is conjecture because they showed a clip at SDCC, however nobody has actually posted the clip online, but the word going around is that the ninja are either on the run or in hiding at the start of the next season. To which I say, why?
Yar.
You're funny. What would they possibly need to be in hiding for? What did they do? They saved the world. Again. It's ridiculous if they're going to be like painted as criminals. Like the only thing I could even conceivably see is like, okay, Moro did a bunch of stuff looking like Lloyd. So maybe they'll have, I don't know, a warrant out for Lloyd's arrest or something. I have no clue. But, you know, that's the thing. LJ, what do you think the future holds for Ninjago?
You really want to ask me this
I do.
question?
What
Yar!
are you looking forward to pirates?
Yar.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm big on pirates, so I am kind of looking forward to it. I want to see the return of No IP.
Yeah.
I think he has an inner turmoil that has yet to be truly realized, and he's going to be the next Spinjitzu master. He will be the new Black Ninja.
Nice.
Because that's all he sees.
Wow. Yeah, I guess Cole's not really the black ninja anymore. He's the transparent green.
He's a sand green ninja.
That's not sand green.
It's sand green.
LJ, the ghosts are not sand green.
Yeah, but he was.
No, he was transparent
Yes.
neon green.
Trans lime green.
No. I said this to LJ while we were watching the episodes. Like at the end, I was like, okay, this ghost thing, not too big on it. I think Ninjago needs a reboot. But then
they did that.
Yeah. But then I realized it's going to be getting one, maybe, because of the Ninjago movie, which we know is not going to follow the same canon. And that could either be a reboot, new timeline, or it could be kind of a pseudo retelling where they streamline stuff, add a couple new things, change it up. I don't know. Either or, future certainly looks bright for us and Ninjago, to echo Lloyd at the end. And even though this season may not have been the strongest, it was still good and it was still enjoyable. And, yeah, it was good stuff. Ninjago at its worst is better than Chima at its best. And that's no slight to Chima, it's just Ninjago's good stuff. So honestly, that's pretty much all I have to say. Do you have any other closing comments?
I like the season. I still really like Ninjago. I think there were a couple of things, and I hope they get elaborated on further and explained further in the future, in the next season. And
Yarr! Well, thank you all very much for listening to our Ninjago possession coverages. You can be sure that we will continue to watch the series, and we will be on the ball whenever the new season comes out. Until then, thank you all very much for watching, and leave your thoughts on the season in the comments section below, or on the TTV Message Boards, which you can always discuss Ninjago on. We do have a forum for it. So yeah, thank you for watching, and we will see you all next year. Farewell.
Yar.